Establishing a line transect is a critical skill in natural resource management. What a line transect is, it's a repeatable measurement on the landscape where we establish a point and we stretch out a tape, in this case a 30-meter long tape, in a specified direction. And the value in having that established plot is we can take all sorts of measurements along that transect line, and we can return to the same point year after year and repeat those measurements. So when you're establishing a transect or coming back to the same transect, you're going to use a GPS unit that hopefully you're using the same units as the person before you established, or your agency protocol. Once you get on site, you're going to record the lat and the long. You're also going to record things like landscape position. Today we're kind of on this ridge top at about 5,200 feet in elevation. You're also going to record the slope using a clinometer. And all those things help to relocate the plot. You might also write out some directions, how we got here, and the distance it is from the road and other landscape markers. So once you've got your location set, if it's a new plot, you're going to need to pound in a permanent marker. So in this case, I've got some rebar, and I might spray paint the tip of it if I want to be able to locate it easily. I might not spray paint the tip if I don't want other people to locate this plot. So it depends kind of on the context and the management. I might not pound in a rebar at all. I might instead choose to spray paint some rocks that I find around the site. And if I scatter them in an area, it's unlikely that those would get kicked over by livestock or stolen by people that don't understand what's happening. Okay, so once I establish that plot center, which I'll do today with this stake, then I'm going to stretch out the transect in a specified direction. So for this, I'm going to use a compass, and I've already set my declination. We're in northern Utah, so I've set it to 12 degrees east. I'm going to ask my friend to help stretch out the tape. Now, if this were really thick vegetation, I might use something like this piece of PVC with a carabiner on it, and I could actually thread it through the vegetation and out the other side and pull it just like a needle and thread. Today we don't need to do that because we're in this beautiful sage steppe community. But if we were in East Africa and there were thorny Acacia drepanalobium everywhere, we might do something like that. Okay, so I'm going to use this survey pin, and this is just a handy way to anchor the transect. I'm going to make sure that we're on the metric side of the tape. These tapes have, some of them will have metric and standard units. You want to make sure, again, that you're using the units that your agency or organization uses. BLM often uses metric. Forest Service will use standard units. So I'm going to push that pin down into the ground near the center of my plot. And then Ryan is going to keep his arm outstretched while he goes along this compass bearing, which will be 240 degrees. And he's keeping his arm outstretched because we don't want to crush the vegetation that we're about to measure. So Ryan's right on 240, doing a great job. And he's almost to 30 meters. Now when he gets there, we're gonna pull the tape taut, and so that it's firm from one end to the other. So once Ryan reaches the end of the transect, he's gonna lock the handle. He's gonna pull the tape taut, and he'll anchor it using the survey pin. But we don't want it to be tight. We don't want to pull on the tape so hard that we rip off the little fastener at the end of the tape. A lot of these tapes, you'll see that they're broken and that's from people pulling too hard. So now that he's down there, we've got our tape outstretched. We want to make sure that it's not twisted. It's facing up metric side the whole way down. Now, if this were a circular plot, I might establish several of these transects originating from the center point of the plot. So I might shoot a bearing of 120 degrees and do the same thing, stretch out another transect, or maybe 360 degrees in another angle. And that would give us several samples for this particular circular plot. There's lots of permutations of that. Okay, that's it for establishing the transect. Now that we've got this repeatable 30-meter unit of measurement, we can take our measurements at specified intervals along this tape, all kinds of different measurements to monitor the ecological community.